Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Do You Fucking Mind, the podcast where we talk about all kinds of shit. And when I say we, I'm talking about me talking to you. And in this episode, we're doing a head noise episode. In this episode, I am answering your questions. If you are new to the podcast, you can send in your questions either by a voice note or by email. You can submit it on the website, or you could write to info@dyfmpod.com and submit your questions. So in today's episode, I will be reading out the questions that have been submitted. I'm trying to make sure that I do it evenly between the voice messages that get sent in and the ones that are written, just because I know that some people would probably love to send a voice message in, but maybe don't feel comfortable, or maybe it doesn't fit in the time limit of the voice message. So we are going through the emails that I have received. Now, I receive so many, and I don't think I'll ever get through to all of them. So hopefully, if this is one of yours, I really hope that, you're listening and you hear it and you get some kind of benefit from it. We're talking about, there's kind of like in-laws. One of them's a great title. It's I Want to Burn My Life Down and Start Again. So there's a lot going on, and hopefully, even if this is not your story, hopefully you can listen to this and be like, yeah, wow, I can totally relate, or wow, like I could apply that to my life, even if it's not specifically what you're going through, okay? So without further ado, let's get straight into it. I want to start with that one. Let's do it. I want to burn my life down and start again, ... again. So obviously this has happened before. Hi, Alexis and Shania. Love the hello to Shania. She would be thrilled. I'm going to try and keep this succinct, but it warrants the context. Why am I unhappy in the perfect relationship? I'm 27. I've been in my relationship for 3 years now. It's my first proper relationship. I absolutely adore my partner. He makes me so happy. He's attentive, funny, endlessly caring. He puts in so much effort to make me laugh and create a cheerful day for us. When we have conflict, he listens and soothes the situation, even if it's been stressful and upsetting. I've never been good with conflict or difficult conversations, but I'm realizing with him it's okay, and I'm learning to feel safe with conflict. I recently listened to Tyrone's episode on the pod, and my partner talks about me the same way Tyrone talks about you. So I know I have something incredibly special. That's so beautiful. I moved around a lot, and looking back on all my moves, I realize I've been running. Oh, this is getting juicy. I will live in a city for 2 to 3 years and then essentially burn my life down and reinvent myself in a new city, career, change it all. It's brought me such a beautiful sense of independence, adventure, and makes me feel strong and unstoppable. I fucking feel you, because I've done that a few times myself. I realize it's an unhealthy way to cope. It's what I've always done, and I'm learning it's informing my perspective on commitment. About 18 months ago, I experienced so much grief within a few short months. 2 big deaths on the same day, one in my family, one in my partner's family. They hit him incredibly hard. Burnout, a failing business, financial hardship. My parents had a scary and messy separation. In my past life, this would have been more than enough for me to pack up and leave again, start over somewhere new. But this time, the life I have with my partner feels like too much to sacrifice. I definitely had the urge. It felt unnatural to stay and deal with all the pain then and there, but I did it. I stayed, and I worked through so much of the grief and suppressed a whole lot of it too. I went to therapy. My partner was the most supportive of this, quit my job and focused on healing. But that feeling has not gone completely away. My long-distance best friend has recently moved across the world on her own. I am so inspired by it, and it's something I really wish I was in the position to do. Since we were teenagers, we haven't lived in the same city, so all our visits happen with plane flights and long drives involved. We only get to see each other for a few days every second year, it seems. We've always dreamt of living in the same place again and having a normal best friendship where it's easy to grab a coffee and go for a walk or make dinner on a random weeknight together. I barely have a social life outside of her. Partly by choice, I really struggle with the energy to maintain friendships, and I feel like my friendship with her satisfied most of my social needs. I also live in a small town and struggle to find people with similar goals and aspirations, as most people move away to achieve them. My partner has a deep abandonment wound. It's been a cause of conflict for us in the past. For example, when I went to visit my best friend for a few days, I was not good with my communication, and I left him feeling neglected and forgotten about. It caused him an anxiety spiral that I was lying about where I was, not even with my friend because he hadn't seen photos. He told me he was worried my friend was trying to sabotage us and telling me to break up with him. We had a fight while I was away and then spoke about it much more civilly when I returned. The next time I went away to visit my friend about 2 years later, our/my communication was a lot better and it made everything much more relaxed. Similar things have happened when I've been away for work, but we've also worked through that. On the contrary, I am very avoidant. That's why I move all over the place. I would much rather just avoid a conflict. I keep so much to myself and avoid being vulnerable. I feel like I live so much of my life in my head. I would rather work through something alone and silently than fumble through something trying to articulate my thoughts to someone who I fear won't understand or will be hurt by what I try to share. I've been doing so much reflecting and I've realized that there's no reason why I can't have this sense of adventure and independence while also maintaining a relationship. I could go on solo trips, etc., but at the same time, I don't want to treat my relationship like it's something I can just put on pause whenever I want to go off and have a solo adventure or experience. That's not fair. And my partner's abandonment wound worries me too. What will he think if I want to go overseas for a few weeks alone, just for fun and for no particular reason? Am I just bored by the stability and craving big life choice spontaneity? The final point to all of this is how deeply I'm intertwined with his family. I've been living with him and his parents for a few years. They have become like my parents. His grandmother is the same and his sister is one of my closest friends, maybe the only non-long distance friend I have. His family adore me. I've helped my partner become more grounded and helped his mental health a lot. He previously had quite a volatile mental health and has self-diagnosed bipolar, which does manifest as outbursts. It still happens, but it has become much less frequent since I've been around. His family is so grateful and show their appreciation for my presence very often. I feel so incredibly loved by them, and this is the first time I feel like I've had a proper supportive family who love me. So my question is, what the hell do I do? I'm terrified of any decision I make, to stay or leave, and I feel that to leave would be to cause so much pain, perhaps irreparable, to him and his family. I really worry for his mental health. I also don't want to give up someone I love so deeply for a feeling that will probably be fleeting anyway. I feel so lost and I have no idea what to do. I feel very detached from a lot of what I used to identify by. I don't really know who I am. I have no passions to follow and my intuition is quiet, where in the past it's been so easy to know what I want. I have no goals and nowhere to go. I feel like all of this is because of the grief and not because of the relationship. I'm scared of both outcomes being the wrong choice. I feel disconnected from everything and spend most of my time feeling very numb to the good and the bad. All the suppressed grief is really taking a toll. I also feel like in some ways I'm addicted to sadness and stress and look for things to fall apart to give me an excuse to reattach to that misery. I'm hoping you can be my crystal ball and guide me because I'm unbelievably lost. I adore you and your podcast. You are truly God's gift to us all. Thank you, Alexis. I'm so grateful for you. P.S. I'm just starting How to Chase Change. Great. Okay, so this is a great question, and I know you gave a lot of context, but I think that's important for me to be able to answer the position that you're in. So there's a lot of things in your life that actually are quite similar to mine, and being 100% dead honest, if I wasn't in a relationship with Tyrone, I wouldn't have gotten a dog. And there is a very big chance that right now I would be living overseas. Not because I don't enjoy living in Australia. I love Australia. And ultimately, it's where I always see myself living long term. This is where I've always thought I'm going to be here long term. However, I have constantly got an urge to want to live overseas. So I feel you. Now, how does that obviously play out that I'm in a relationship? This is the first time I've ever felt like I've grounded myself and I've got roots in a place and I've actually purchased furniture that's not just some secondhand thing that I can quickly just sell again. And I have possessions that's more than just one suitcase. And, I'm with my partner, we have a home, we have a dog. So for me, what I do, and I'm going to address your partner in a second, is that I fulfill a lot of my desires by doing shorter trips. So last year I was away for 1 month to the US and I went with my cousin and one of my best friends. Tyrone couldn't come, he was too busy with work. This year I did go to Europe with Tyrone, but prior to that I went to London and then I spent 3 weeks in Paris, which is where I used to live. And I can hand on my heart say that it really does feed that side of me that I crave so much. And I say to Tyrone all the time, I really want the two of us to be able to do a stint overseas, whether it's 6 months, and it doesn't have to be right now, but it's something that I really want. And he's fully on board. He's like, we need to have that in our future. I know how important it is to you. Traveling with you made me realize how much I would want that too. So it's something that we can align on definitely, and something that we will have in our future. But what I'm saying to you is, putting aside this abandonment thing, because I'm going to address that in a second, I think that you could actually not only get a lot of fulfillment from doing, like, even go and spend 1 month with your best friend. Don't travel to a million places. Just go to where your best friend is, be there for a month, and really get into a routine. Go grocery shopping together, cook together, watch movies together, go to like walks or fitness classes together. Just get into like a nice routine together and do that more regularly, obviously, if your resources can afford you that. And I think that one of the major things that's crucial is to get to a place where you can both do that for each other. When you are able to do these things that fulfill you, you will start to discover passions, hobbies. You will start to, that fire inside you will begin to light up again. You've gone through a really hard 18 months. You've gone through a lot of grief, and that is going to blunt a lot of life excitement for a lot of people. When you are suffering through a lot of emotional pain, it blunts your ability to be passionate or spontaneous or excited about a lot of things for a lot of people. Not everyone, but for a lot of people. And that will get better. But something like this, where traveling is such a major part of you, will make you feel like you are finding your spark, your flair again. Now, the important thing here is to be addressing how you can navigate this with your partner. Because, and I don't want to, what I'm about to say be interpreted the wrong way, but you always ultimately have to put your long-term happiness, not just the happiness of right now, because I think the happiness of right now can be fleeting, but you got to think overall, what's going to make for a satisfied life? I want to know that I am fulfilling my dreams. I want to know that I am really doing what I'm doing, because if I don't, and if the reason I don't is because I don't want to upset my partner, and upsetting my partner, and he's getting upset, and if we look at it coldly over something that's not rational, it's not rational because he was thinking that you were doing all these wrong things when you absolutely weren't. So it's an irrational fear that your partner has over you just existing and living your life and doing something that is really fulfilling. If you were to not do those things, I can guarantee you almost 100% that you will resent him and your relationship in the future. Because relationships are not about who can I find to fit into my life that's going to mold in the way. No, it's not. A successful relationship is where two people can really shine the most as individuals together, and you can work together on things, but you're still an individual. You should never lose your sense of self. And a huge part of you, yes, you said you were running away, whatever, but a huge part of you still craves that adventure and the travel. That's never going to go. I can tell you, it's never going to fucking go. That's like a desire of yours to explore and to experience all these things. And that's amazing. That's such a nice thing to want and such a nice thing to have. So my main priority, if I were you, would be to get to the bottom of what's going on with you and your partner. I would say this is something that we cannot avoid. I'm an avoider. You are anxiously attached. We need to figure out how we can both come to the table and make this thing work. Because I need to communicate better, that's for sure. I need to learn how we're going to do that. We need to come up with a strategy when I'm away of how I can communicate in a way that works for both of us. But you also need to be doing certain things, whether that be therapy, whether that be reading up on it, learning about what it is that you're experiencing, because I can't not experience these big experiences in my life because you are anxiously attached. That is not fair, and that is indirectly controlling me. And now I also don't want to feel like I now have a huge sense of guilt when I'm not doing anything wrong, okay? So if my partner was extremely anxiously attached, I would be doing everything under the sun to be like, we're going to work this out, because I'm not going to travel, because then all it's going to achieve is me being pissed off that I haven't traveled and resenting you. So we still don't win. I've got a good friend of mine who, she was literally on the cusp of ending her relationship, not because she didn't love her partner. She adored her partner, but she was like that, where she's like, I have to move to another city. I have to experience this thing. If I don't experience it, I don't think I'll be happy. I have to do it. It's this knowing. And he kind of saw that in her and he said to her, you know what? I can't move right now, work-wise. So I think you should go because I think that if you stay, he said, I think if you go, we might survive as a relationship long distance and then see what happens after that. We might not. But if you stay, then we will not survive and we will end up breaking up and then you're still going to end up going. So he kind of saw that this was a major need for her. So he was like, you need to go and do this thing because I know how much it matters to your happiness. So she moved, and 6 months later, and he was coming to visit her. It was in the same country. He was coming to visit her all the time, whatever. And then he was like, I see it. You're thriving here. You fucking love it. I'm going to apply for a job here. And now they're the most successful couple you've ever seen. They're thriving. So every single couple has its own rules. I think it's really important so for example, my mother-in-law or future mother-in-law said to me the other day, she was like, do you think there's many men out there that would be so like relaxed with you going on these 1 month trips all the time? And she says, and I don't mean this in disrespect. She goes, I love that you do it. But how do you think? And I said, no, I know that a lot of people would not find that easy. And that's one of the things that I really value the most in our relationship, that we can do that. And if Tyrone ever needed to go somewhere away for a month, I would wholeheartedly, not only would I want to support that, but I would need to support that because he's been like that with me. So basically, yeah, really it just comes down to identifying what your need is, and that is to go on adventures and to travel. You need to do it. You fucking need to do it. And now you're looking at how do we make this work for our relationship, because everyone's got their own rules. You can make it work. All right. It doesn't have to mean that you need to end the relationship. Absolutely not. That's what I would do. Hopefully that helped. Next question. Boyfriend help, sister-in-law problems and strategies. I'm loving these titles. Hi, Alexis and the DYFM team. I need your opinion and help. Long story short, I've been with my partner for over a year now. We have known each other for around 4 years. This year has been hard. I've had a falling out with my partner's twin brother's girlfriend, and this has led to the brother also not liking me. I've tried countless times to fix this situation. I've tried apologizing in person. She didn't have a bar of it. I apologized over Messenger. Her response was honestly so hurtful and unkind. I blocked her because I was so upset about how nasty her message was. We go to family and friend events where we just totally ignore each other. This is so out of character for me, but her reactions and how she treats me when I do try to talk to her just give me so much anxiety. It's better to just not talk. A few weeks ago for the grand final of the NRL, we were all together at a pub with friends, and again, we ignored each other. It's gotten to a point where I've had enough. I have sent her a message on Facebook again to try and put this behind us, and that I'm going to be making an effort to talk to her. She hasn't replied. This is an issue on its own, but it's causing not only myself stress, but my partner. We're both constantly thinking about it. He has been so upset by this that it's turning into anger and frustration. To be honest with you, I don't know exactly why she has such an issue with me. It has stemmed from me telling her boyfriend, my partner's twin, to do his own washing and calling the bathroom small, which I honestly don't remember. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not a mean person, and I'm definitely blunt and straight to the point, but I'm very kind and fair. My partner doesn't know how to fix it and is upset with his brother. Their relationship has taken a hit and it's also affecting us, but I don't think he wants to admit it. So any points to help dealing with her and the brother and trying to mend the relationship and ours, because it's really taken a hit. The next thing is that my partner and his family aren't great at communicating. It's not like my family. The stress has been internalized for my partner, and he's also had a stressful job with timeframes, and he's building a house that's been so hard, such hard work that it's insane. The company is so horrible. My partner struggles with communication. He's gotten a lot better since we've been together, but he still struggles. It's to the point that his bucket is filling with issues that he can't solve, and then he just explodes. Any tips on how to help him become better at communicating on things that help him open up and help with internal stress? The last thing is to do with me. I put a lot of pressure on my boyfriend. I know I'm very demanding and intense, which I'm aware of, and going to try and be more considerate. I've come from a past long-term relationship where I wasn't treated the best, and I've had a lot of anxiety that eventually my current partner is going to do the same and treat me so bad that it pushes me away and I leave. I've spoken to my current partner about the future to have conversations, but he struggles to make plans for the future. He says he wants to get married and have kids with me, but when I talk to him about a ring or moving in together, he says it freaks him out. To me, this makes me feel like he's unsure, and I'm struggling to understand how this freaks him out. I'm worried that he's going to turn around and break up with me because of this unsureness that he has. I feel like you should know if you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, and if you are unsure, then you should let them go and not dangle them until you're ready. I'm so sure of him. I knew he was the one, being together for 2 weeks. The thought of breaking up kills me. Any thoughts and opinions, please and thank you. All right, one thing, I'm going to address the last one first. The thing is that you're saying if you're not sure, you should let them go, but that would require certainty, right? To let someone go requires certainty. So you're the one who's sure. And if you are so sure that he's the one and you're sure that he should be letting you go, then that's maybe a sign for you to walk away. But obviously you're not going to do that. But I'm just saying that you can't be saying, well, if you're unsure, you should be doing this. You've got to take the reins. You've got to be in control. This is your relationship. This is your future. If you think that someone's stringing you along, wasting your fucking time, good for now, but not good for the future, that kind of vibe, you can't be like, well, when are you going to dump me then? When are you going to dump me? Take the reins and walk the fuck away if that's actually how you feel is going on with the future. Now, when someone says that they freak out, that isn't necessarily an indicator that they don't want to have that future. I don't know how many times I've said to Tyrone that the thought of children fucking terrifies me. That doesn't mean that it's not something that we would want, but it's me being honest with him. It's me being really transparent because I want him to know how I would feel about what parenting would look like, what the dynamic would be between us. What I feel like it's really important to talk about what this is like. If it's not, children aside, if it's committing to you that freaks him out, then you've got to ask, is there a version of your life that you are waiting for or thought that you would have and it's not it, and you're kind of coming to terms with maybe your life is going in a different way? Is that why you're freaking out? Because a lot of people will be stuck on a certain version of their life that they think they should have had. And it's not necessarily a stab at their partner, but it's like they had this vision for themselves and they feel like time is passing them by. And I'm not saying this is just your partner. But what happens is that they then put everything on hold. They put their relationship on hold. They put potentially starting a family, potentially, getting married or whatever, because they're like, is this what my life is now, or would it go in this other way? They're kind of unsure with the trajectory of their life. Now, when someone is in that position, it's very difficult to make a decision. So the decision is going to be on you. You're the one that has to make the call. And I know it's hard because you said you're so sure, you've been sure since, basically day one, and the thought of breaking up kills you. But you've got to be very, 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 very clear on what it is that you want for your life, and are you going to get it out of this relationship, okay? Now, the thing about communicating, you've got to understand that you can't control other people. We're talking about not just him, but his entire family and all the issues that are arising out of that, okay? If there's an issue with communicating, it's not only going to be hard for them to resolve issues within the family, but it's going to be difficult for you to be resolving issues within the family as well. And then you're bringing in in-laws as well. So his brother's girlfriend, has an issue. If I was in that position and I had already tried to rectify it with the girlfriend and I had already tried to do my best with that, then genuinely what I would do is I would say to my partner, I am done contributing to this conflict between you and your brother. I don't want this to form any kind of divide between you and your brother. I've apologized. I've literally done everything under the sun. And if they don't want to come to the table, then that's perfectly fine. But from now on, I'm going to not go to every single family event. I'll go to the main ones where it's, like with the family and whatever. I'm not going to be trying to approach someone. Also, like, if someone doesn't want me approaching them, I'm not going to make their life difficult and approach them. I just don't think that's fair. Whether they're being rational or not, I don't think it's fair for me to be like, hey, I'm still going to try. I'm going to put in the effort. No, if someone's made it clear that they don't want you approaching them, whether it's mean or not, it doesn't matter. Get out of their face. Honestly, you're not doing yourself any favors. So I would just, less is more in this situation. I've done what I can do. From here, I'm going to put in no more effort. And it's not out of like pride or out of spite. It's out of like preservation for the future. And then I would also encourage my partner to hang out with his brother one-on-one. Okay? If they are close, then they will want to do that and they will want to nurture that relationship. If they only want to hang out when the whole family is together, then that's an indication that the brothers aren't really that close and they're just got a flawed communication style. And when you are with someone who doesn't know how to communicate, who struggles to communicate, you are going to deal with this for the rest of your life, okay? He's got to want to change how he communicates, and he's also got to want to change how he deals with drama within the family. Because if he doesn't want to do that and if he doesn't want to change, then you've got to decide, am I willing to put up with this or not? Okay, but I personally would do less. You're doing too much. I would pull it right back. I've done what I can do. I'm fucking done. I'm not going to give any more energy to this. She's not even your friend. So it is what it is. That's what I would do. Hi, Alexis. First of all, I just wanted to say that I'm a long-time listener. You have got me through some super tricky parts of my life and that I've experienced and been an absolute rock. I'm listening to your podcast daily. So my question is, I'm finding myself having a lot of anxiety around my career and finding what drives me and my passion. So I went to university and got a degree, and now I'm working within that field, and I've had multiple different jobs within that field and currently just feel very unsettled. And I'm also finding that I have quite a bit of anxiety and that I'm just taking a lot on board and bringing it home with me. I just have a gut feeling that this job isn't for me, and I haven't even made it to the 1 year mark and feel super guilty around leaving because the people I work with are awesome, but I rarely see them. I want to leave, but I'm not too sure where to next, whether it's changing careers or trying something different. I want to look after my mental health and my emotional health, and at the moment, I just feel like I have nothing left to give to the people that I love when I get home at the end of my day. My job is emotionally draining. I'm also in my late 20s and just feeling a lot of pressure to figure my shit out, basically. Your advice on navigating this would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for everything that you do. That's a really, really good question, and I think it's something that a lot of people grapple with or battle with, and it's this idea of, I've done the study, I've entered into this career, it's the job that I thought I wanted, there's several aspects that I like, but I'm not happy. And what a lot of people do is they think, well, if I quit now, it would have been a waste, okay? But what we don't acknowledge consciously when we're feeling that way is this sunk cost fallacy, this idea that unless it's a loss for sure, then I haven't realized the loss. So in other words, until the day I quit, I haven't technically given it up. So it's not a loss yet, right? It's only a realized cost or a realized loss when I've pulled the pin on the thing. So we have this delusion, and we all do it. I do it. Everyone does it to an extent, some way more than others, that if we just stay in it, whether it's romantically, whether it's in a job, whether it's whatever it is, gambling, where you just keep putting money in, because until I leave the casino, it's not really a realized loss, right? So until I really pull the pin, I can sit thinking well, maybe not. But what you've got to come to terms with is the loss has happened. The year spent studying is gone and done. Whether you stay in the career or not, that time is gone. The loss has already happened. Whether you stay or whether you leave, you don't recover that time back. You don't recover the effort, the energy, and that's not a bad thing. I don't think anything's ever an absolute loss or a waste, ever. But what I'm saying is that regardless of your choice, you're not going to recover the past. Now, you could look and say, yeah, but Alexis, at least those years can be used into my career now. Now I've got to go and study somewhere else. This is where you need to weigh up, what do I value more? Is my job just don't love it that much, but there's something else that I think that I could really be happy doing? And if the answer is yes, and if that thing that you could really be happy doing is within your grasp, then I would 100% recommend you do that. Because what's worse than where you're sitting right now is to be sitting where you are right now in 5 or 10 years' time. Because I can bet it, will be looking back thinking, why didn't I quit 1 year in? Why did I wait 5 years? Why did I wait 10? Not only will you feel like you did waste that time because you knew you wanted to leave back then, but you're also going to feel like you're just even further back. It's different if you loved your career for 10 years and then at the 10-year mark, you're like, I've milked that career. I've done what I can do. I've experienced everything there is to experience. I'm ready for something else. Then you never look at it as a waste. But where you are right now, you're at a crossroad of being do I want to stay where I'm at? Because there's some good things in it, but knowing that it's not what I like, knowing it's not my thing, and then get to 5 or 10 years later being oh my fucking God, I imagine where I could be now had I pulled the pin when I knew I should be pulling the pin versus doing this now. Now, you might not know where you want to go, but I can guarantee you that the action of quitting And even getting a temporary thing in the meantime is going to really inspire you and push you to try new things and to get creative and to start brainstorming for your life. I think it's really terrifying to pull the pin, but you could be look, I don't know what industry you're in and I don't know what your skill set is, but you could pull the pin on something that's so high stress, get a job that's less stressful in the meantime, or change careers if that's an option for you, and start to see what sticks. Okay. I know people, I've got one of my best friends. She has changed jobs almost every year for the last, I want to say 6 years, because she's just not found her right thing. And she was like, oh my God, I'm such a flake. I never hot. And I'm like, yeah, but better that than being miserable in a job. Now she's in a position where like, it's literally she's in like the best fucking job ever. And she's like, I am never leaving. This is so amazing. Right. But sometimes it takes a bit of chopping and changing. And do you think she has any regrets now? Now she's like, thank fuck I did what I needed to do to get me to a place where I'm truly fulfilled and happy doing what I love, but also in a stress-free environment where I have so many freedoms. So I think that my answer, if I were you, I'd pull the fucking pin straight away. If this is affecting your mental health, you know you don't want to be there. The only thing that you said was good about this job were the people in it. You can still see there's people outside of the job. If they're good enough to be your friends at work, why not out of work, you know? So I wouldn't make a decision based on people in your workplace ever. That's not a good enough reason, because you can always see those people outside. Hopefully that helped. Guys, that is all for today. Thank you for listening. And keep sending in, they were longer questions, so I only got through 3 today, but keep sending in your questions, info@dyfmpod.com. I love reading them. I try to get through as many as I can, but obviously sometimes I can't get through all of them, so I still appreciate you sending them through. Love you guys so much. As always, remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to your brain, don't take shit from anyone, and especially don't take shit from yourself. Danke.